This is CBC Winnipeg News.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. A trial is underway in Winnipeg of a man accused of killing 4 Indigenous women. But before evidence can be heard, defense lawyers have renewed a bid to have the jury tossed. CBC's Brittany Greenslade explains.
Just days before the start of trial, Jeremy Skibicki's legal team is making a last-ditch effort to have his case heard by a judge alone. Jurors were chosen last week and are expected to sit on May 8th when opening arguments are set to start. The defense is challenging whether a jury can be impartial given the high profile and highly publicized nature of this case. Skibicki has pleaded not guilty to 4 counts of first-degree murder in the deaths of Morgan Harris, Mercedes Myron, Rebecca Contois, and a 4th unidentified woman Indigenous leaders have named Buffalo Woman. Contois' partial remains were found in a garbage bin and at a city-run landfill in May of 2022. Police believe the remains of Harris and Myron are at a different privately owned landfill outside the city, and the location of Buffalo Woman's remains are unknown. The defense already tried to get the jury tossed once, but the judge rejected it. Brittany Greenslade, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Dozens gathered in downtown Winnipeg for a vigil remembering one of the victims in that case, Mercedes Myron. The vigil was held yesterday outside the Winnipeg Law Courts, where Skibicki's trial is being held. Members of Myron's family came to honor the 26-year-old. Her grandmother, Donna Bartlett, says the lead up to the trial has been difficult.
Very long, difficult, heartbreaking, emotional, straining. Anything you can think of. It's very hard.
Bartlett says she's appreciative of all the people who came to support them. Manitoba's education minister is calling the board of a rural school division into his office. Concerns were raised about a new hiring practice in the Hanover School Division. As CBC's Josh Crabb reports, that policy prompted a parent group to call for 6 trustees to be removed.
Some parents are questioning the motivation behind a new policy in the Hanover School Division, and it sparked a complaint about the Board of Trustees.
I have concerns because there are parents who have said it's concerning.
It's been 7 years since former Hanover School Division parent Michelle McHale filed a human rights complaint against the same division over concerns of discrimination against LGBTQ families. Now she's speaking in support of current parents. The new policy was narrowly approved by the board April 2nd. It gives trustees, not principals or superintendents, the final say on the hiring of any gym and music teachers.
We trust the people who are hiring to make good selections, to have our kids have good education. Why have these 2 positions been removed in this way?
A group called the Hanover Parent Alliance for Diversity started an online petition, which has more than 1,200 supporters. They also wrote Manitoba's education minister calling on Nello Altamar to remove 6 trustees. In the letter, the group says it's concerned the policy puts these teachers at great risk of discrimination.
We do want to talk to the board and get an idea of where they're coming from.
Altamar wouldn't say whether he sees the new policy as discriminatory, but he did say boards have to make sure schools are safe and inclusive spaces.
We'll be meeting with them this week and to have some dialogue and see where they're at and to ensure that they're following what their responsibilities are under the Public Schools Act.
In an emailed statement to CBC News, Hanover School Division Board Chair Brad Unger says the board appreciates the opportunity to meet with the education minister. He had no further comment. A different online petition has more than 4,000 people backing the Board of Trustees. Mitchell, Manitoba parent Nathan Weeb says the board was elected and they trust the decisions trustees have made.
I honestly started to show them that we support them in what they do.
McHale sees the minister calling a meeting with the board as a good first step, but says more oversight is needed when issues arise.
Who helps the board with those decisions when they have blind spots or gaps that maybe they don't understand?
The education minister says he does have the power to remove trustees, but that's not the route he wants to take. Josh Crabb, CBC News, Winnipeg.
It's been 2 years since Peguis First Nation declared a state of emergency because of rising floodwaters. Hundreds of people were forced from the community and are still out of their homes. Tonight, we hear from a woman who wonders if she'll ever be able to move back. CBC's Alana Cole reports.
Karen Crishane lives in Winnipeg now, but it's not home.
I'll tell you what I miss. I miss hearing the cranes in the morning, you know, or the frogs at night, right? Those are the kinds of little things you miss.
In 2022, flooding in Peguis First Nation forced her to leave her home. Crishane thought she'd be in Winnipeg temporarily. 2 years later, she says it's starting to feel more permanent. First, she was in hotels, now an apartment with her daughter.
I'm trying to make the best of that, you know, because I don't know when I'm going to be home. I don't know if I'm going to be home.
Crishane isn't alone. Peguis First Nation Chief Stan Bird said in a statement last week roughly 549 people who were part of evacuations in 2022 haven't been able to return. That's in addition to more than 235 people who have not returned following floods in 2014 and 2017.
It's had a huge impact on the family. There's been separation. Our people are dying in the city. There's sickness that's happened with our people. Their physical health has suffered, and just the overall uncertainty of their lives has had a huge impact.
That's part of the reason Peguis First Nation has filed a $1 billion lawsuit against the federal and provincial governments, as well as 2 municipalities. In response to the lawsuit, Indigenous Services Canada told CBC they're working with Peguis on flooding. The government says from May 2022 to the following March, it provided approximately $18 million to the community for flood response and recovery. As for Crishane, she waits for a new home.
I had a vision idea in my mind that my little house was going to be my retirement home, you know, and I had this idea that I was going to retire in Peguis, and now it looks like maybe I'm retiring in Winnipeg.
For now, she says she's building a life in the city under uncertain circumstances. Alana Cole, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Winnipeggers have a new tool the city hopes will dramatically curb bike thefts. Starting today, people can register their bikes for free using an online service called 529 Garage. But one cyclist says the service will only work if police dedicate resources to bike theft. CBC's Cameron McLean has more.
This busted bike lock is all Larry Bailey found when he left work last Thursday. He locked his bike inside the bike cage behind the Union Center on Broadway, but someone broke in and stole it.
It's a hybrid bike, 29-inch wheels, great for riding to and from work. I put skinny tires on it. It was my pride and joy.
As his only mode of transportation, the theft has made life significantly harder.
I've lost sleep. I was gutted.
Every year, hundreds of bikes are reported stolen. Last year, there were more than 1,400. Today, the city announced it's replacing its current bike registry, which costs about $8, with a free online system. It's called 529 Garage. Owners can register their bikes by downloading the app and entering their information. Bylaw enforcement manager Winston Yee says multiple cities use the service, and if a bike is stolen, it sends an alert to the community.
So everyone who's on the app will get notified, so you have not just 2 pairs of eyes looking for a bike, but you can have thousands of pairs of eyes looking at bikes that could be stolen out there.
While it's free to register, bike owners can buy a tamper-proof sticker from 529 Garage for about $14. Mark Coho of Bike Winnipeg hopes the new system gives people more confidence to get out on their bikes.
Having it stolen means that maybe they're not going to get another bike. Maybe they're just going to say, forget it, it's not worth it, and they're just going to drive.
Larry Bailey says he'll use the new system to register his next bike, but he doesn't think the system will work unless police put in the resources.
Lesson learned, but nobody gives a darn about my property. And that's the message that got very loud and clear Thursday night from the police.
Winnipeg police say their community relations division handles bike theft investigations. The current bike registry will remain active until May 1st, 2026. Cameron McLean, CBC News, Winnipeg.
The work of a Manitoba office slammed for dismissing claims of abuse is under the microscope again. A government-ordered review has so far determined the office handled its investigations appropriately, but as Ian Fraze explains, that's in stark contrast to the findings of the Auditor General.
Cindy Lambrou worries the Auditor General's report into senior abuse isn't being taken seriously.
You have to think about the families and the loved ones of these seniors.
In light of last year's report, a Liberal MLA is disappointed the protection for persons in care office is still being defended. A government review has so far found the office's investigations into abuse and neglect were handled well. That's a lot different from what the Auditor General said last summer. Tyson Stakilo called his review troubling. He says the office's threshold of what constitutes abuse was too hard to meet, even when a healthcare aide was criminally charged.
Deliberately crushing a senior with a lift is a crime. Sexual assault of anyone, including our vulnerable seniors here in Manitoba, that is a crime.
The former PC government hired attorney Kimberly Gilson to re-examine some abuse allegations. A spokesperson for the current NDP government told CBC Gilson felt confident the investigations she reviewed have been appropriately examined and scrutinized, therefore no cases were reopened. The government, though, says that can still change pending new information. For her part, Gilson says she cannot comment because her report hasn't been issued. The health minister stands by the lawyer's work.
I respect her autonomy as an independent expert. I respect her approach in meeting with the families, in meeting with folks who have been directly impacted by the previous government's negligence on this file and the handling of these issues.
But that's not good enough for Lambrou.
For the NDP government to simply wash their hands of this is extremely disturbing.
The PC's promised to replace that office with a new independent body. The NDP is expecting a report on that in the coming weeks. Ian Fraze, CBC News, Winnipeg.
A 16-year-old boy is in hospital in stable condition after he was hit by a train. The boy is suffering from life-altering injuries. It happened around 4:30 yesterday afternoon on the tracks near the University of Manitoba. The teenager was taken to hospital in critical condition and was later upgraded to stable. Police are investigating but say the incident appears to have been accidental. London drugstores across Western Canada have been temporarily closed after the company says it was the victim of a cyber attack. The retailer operates nearly 80 stores from BC to Manitoba. It's not clear how long they'll be closed. In a statement, the company said the decision was made out of an abundance of caution and says it doesn't believe customer or employee data has been affected. Staff won't be answering the phones. They've been shut down too, but some staff will be on site helping people who have urgent pharmacy needs. The Colorado Avalanche scored a 5-1 victory yesterday over Winnipeg, and that leaves the Jets in a must-win mode for the rest of the first-round playoff series. Avalanche forward Valeri Nichushkin iced the game with 2 power play goals and an empty netter. Nate Schmidt had the lone goal for Winnipeg. The Avalanche now enjoy a 3-1 lead in the best-of-7 matchup. Jets coach Rick Bowness didn't mince words in his evaluation of the game.
I think you only have to stay out of the penalty box, and then the penalty kill has to do the job. Second thing, well, we have to stop turning the puck over. So, again, those things are self-inflicted. You want adjustments, stay out of the box, manage the puck better, and then go from there. Yeah.
Bowness did not have an update on the condition of Vlad Namestnikov. He was hit in the face with a misdirected shot. The forward was sent to a nearby hospital for treatment. Game 5 will be back in Winnipeg with another whiteout street party tomorrow night. And a programming note, tomorrow we'll be on at 5:30 ahead of a hockey doubleheader right here on CBC TV. First up is Toronto and Boston at 6, followed by Winnipeg and Colorado just before 9. You can also stream our show anytime on the CBC News app or on our CBC Manitoba YouTube channel. CBC weather specialist Riley Laychuk joins us now. Riley, what kind of weather can fans expect for the whiteout party tomorrow?
Well, Emily, you want to take a raincoat, maybe an umbrella if you're heading out there as well, because yes, we're looking at a bit of an unsettled week. Having a look at that whiteout forecast right now, when we get to the gates opening at about 6:30 or so in the evening, expect a temperature of around 12 degrees, so not all that bad, but a mainly cloudy sky, east winds gusting to 30 as we head through at least the early part of the evening. Winds do die down a little bit, northeast 15 to 30 still though by the time we hit 8:30 with 10 degrees. Keep in mind, that's when sunset happens, so things will cool down once we see sort of that sunset happen, of course. And yes, we see some showers starting to move through as we get into the later evening, into the overnight period. So yes, by the time the game ends, expect a little bit of wet weather to begin rolling through. Northeast winds at 10 and about 7 degrees by about that 11 o'clock hour. Wanted to show you our potential for rainfall over the next 5 days. This is sort of an ensemble of various forecasting models, giving us sort of a look out at the next 5 days here in terms of what we can expect rainfall-wise. And yes, we are looking at a pretty good soaking rain across parts of southern Manitoba. So looking at this map here, this yellow region here in that 25 to 50 millimeter range, but back into the Parkland region into that sort of 10 to 15 range as we head over the next week or so here, and less as we get into northern Manitoba, at least according to this model data, at least anyway. So we have seen a few scattered showers moving through southern Manitoba through the afternoon today. Yes, still seeing a few of those right now on satellite radar just outside the city of Winnipeg, but we will see some of the scattered shower activity continuing as we get into the evening hours tonight and into the overnight period. And yes, according to Futurecast anyway, the potential for some mixed precipitation or even some light snow in parts of northwestern Ontario because, as I'll show you, temperatures dipping close to or below that freezing mark as we head into the early morning tomorrow. So starting Tuesday, few scattered flurries or some wet snow through northeastern Manitoba. Otherwise, we start to see some cloud building in as we get into the afternoon. And yes, ahead of some instability that pushes through into the overnight period. So Wednesday, looking at periods of rain, some light snow even through parts of northern Manitoba, even into the Parkland region where temperatures, yes, will be dancing around the freezing mark as well as we head late Wednesday into Thursday. Another shot of rain comes our way. So we're looking at a bit of an unsettled and a bit of a wet week over the course of the next few days or so. In terms of rainfall accumulation, at least for the next 48 hours, we're looking at about 2 to 5 millimeters. Snowfall, yes, a lot of this in the north will be melting on contact, but can't rule out a couple of centimeters by the time we reach the supper hour on Wednesday. So temperatures, yes, by 9 o'clock tomorrow night or so, we're looking at still 8-9 degrees, but look at what happens as we head into early Wednesday morning temperatures, especially through the Parkland, the Interlake, and into parts of northeastern Manitoba, really dipping close to or below that freezing mark before popping back up into the double digits again as we head into Wednesday. So 5 degrees in Winnipeg right now. East winds at 11. We're looking at a temperature on the freezing mark overnight tonight in Winnipeg, +4 first thing in the morning. Yes, another chilly morning with increasing clouds as we head through the afternoon. And then we get some rain for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, ending on Saturday, Emily. So keep your umbrella handy.
And I guess those Jets fans better put a sweater under their jerseys for the whiteout party. Thank you, Riley.
You're welcome.
An organization that helps homeless people in Winnipeg wants to create hundreds of housing units. Silo Mission launched a new housing strategy over the weekend, and as CBC's Cameron McLean reports, it includes a potential partnership with the owners of the Winnipeg Jets.
Siloam Mission runs one of Winnipeg's largest homeless shelters. But CEO Tessa Blakey-Whitecloud says they would like to offer a more permanent solution to the city's housing crisis.
But ultimately, when we talk about outflow and moving people into a home where they can thrive in that housing first model, we just don't have the units in Winnipeg.
Whitecloud says Winnipeg has 3 units of social housing for every 20 low-income people, putting it behind other prairie cities. So Siloam has announced a new strategy, setting a goal to build 700 to 1,000 social housing units over the next decade.
So we're launching this housing strategy, without the funds to make it happen yet, but with the initiative and intention of being bold on solving homelessness by getting adequate units online for the people that are currently experiencing it.
To promote their plan, Siloam created this video, which includes an endorsement from True North Sports and Entertainment Chairman and CEO Mark Chipman.
When you look at their plan, it just makes a lot of sense. It's well thought out. It gives me personally and our group a lot of confidence to be able to work alongside Tessa and the board.
Earlier this month, Chipman told CBC News he and Winnipeg Jets co-owner David Thompson were exploring ways to help pay for transitional housing. Siloam has already started working toward its goal. Last month, it started operating 32 units in the Oddfellows building in Charleswood, serving people 50 years and older. Monica Richard is a housing support worker at the Oddfellows home. She once stayed in Siloam's shelter after going through addiction treatment and says their housing strategy could help people in similar situations.
Had this already been implemented when I found myself homeless and wanting to be housed sooner than later to get my children back to me, maybe I could have done that quicker.
Siloam already operated 105 units before taking over the Oddfellows building, including here at the Madison. This man, who asked not to be identified, became a Siloam resident after being homeless. He says that transition could be easier if Siloam had a bigger inventory of housing.
I think that would help a lot of people actually get a leg up rather than, going about trying to, navigate out of the trenches, yeah.
White Cloud says if they reach their goal, they could house a quarter of Winnipeg's estimated homeless population. Cameron McLean, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Hundreds met up in Winnipeg yesterday to share their experiences as 60 scoop survivors. Hosted by the Southern Chiefs Organization and the Anish Corporation, the conference was aimed at helping survivors reconnect with their communities and access support. We spoke with some of them about the impact of the 60 scoop.
I want people out there, the 60s, the returning warriors that are out there that haven't returned yet, that it's safe to come home now.
Most of my life I lived in shame, anger, and pain, and a lot of, let me be blunt, hatred. I didn't ask to be taken. I was stolen right out from under my dad's arms, knowing that I have family here in this outside world that love me and support me. It was very, very, very calming and peaceful. I'm not alone.
We know what it feels like to be a 60 scoop survivor and not have been raised among our people, always feeling different, always feeling like we're outside of the circle, right? When we're here, we're part of the circle.
It's been such an honor to be able to create a space where people can come in and learn more about who they are as Indigenous people, treaty people.
The focus of this event is really to bring survivors together, but I think there's a larger conversation about just understanding and recognizing the impacts of the 60s scoop for all of society to understand.
Because it was about identity. I didn't know who I was. And it wasn't until I connected to my community and I started asking the questions, who am I? Where am I from? And asking the Creator what my purpose is. What am I here for? What are my gifts? That I started to develop and get those answers of who I was, where I'm from, what my name is, and connect to the culture and the ceremony. And that's where I found my healing. And I've been on my healing journey for 8 years now. And I'm one of the ones that have been blessed and gifted by the grace of the Creator to be here, because not a lot of us make it, and there's a lot of us that didn't, but those that did, we're returning warriors, is what we are.
Still to come, a pro-Palestinian encampment is growing at McGill University in Montreal, and protesters say they have no plans to leave. More on that after the break.
Crispy and tangy,
the Cuban Crunch, part of the new globally inspired Subway series.
I heard it swallowed an entire family's camping gear.
My sister said she saw it playing in the mud.
I hear it came from the future.
The new Subaru Crosstrek, the true urban legend.
A man of science. He's married to the woman of his dreams. Coffee to go?
Oh my gosh, you're my hero.
Until one night, he doesn't make it home.
We need to show you the box. Behind every door in there is a version of your life that you could have lived.
What if the person that abducted me is me?
Dark Matter. Streaming soon on Apple TV+.
Here, hey, you're over here. Were you truly ready to hang it all up? Retirement's not an ending. It can be whatever you choose to make it.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Ask yourself what the CHIP reverse mortgage can do for you.
I often forget to mention that he's an amputee because Abel will try any activity he can.
My helps me with basically everything.
He doesn't see what he can't do, he sees what he can do.
Yeah, this is helping.
The War Amps has just given him the ability to do all the activities every kid can do.
When you donate to the War Amps, you help kids like me. Thank you.
Leon's Save the Tax event ends soon. Get amazing deals on furniture, plus save the tax. Save big on select mattresses, plus save the tax. And save the tax when you buy 2 or more select major appliances. On now until Wednesday.
Stop. Water and electricity are a dangerous mix. Keep electronics and appliances away from water. Prevent serious shock and install a GFCI in areas electrical outlets are close to water. Safety, it's in your hands.
All right, Family Feud Canada's back, and survey says... Go to cbc.ca/Family Feud Canada, and you can end up on this very stage.
The pro-Palestinian protests taking place at U.S. colleges have started to spread north. Demonstrators have set up encampments at Montreal's McGill University and at UBC in Vancouver. They're demanding their schools divest from Israel-related investments. CBC's Sarah Levitt has more from the McGill encampment.
This encampment has grown quite a bit since it first started on Saturday. Just to give you an idea of what it looks like here on McGill campus, they've set up about 50 tents inside, surrounded by fences. Obviously, you can see that they have put their signs up for why they are here. Since, not just here at McGill University, but there have also been an encampment set up at the University of British Columbia. Copying in ways or getting inspiration from what we've seen on U.S. campuses across that country. Similar calls. In this case, they are asking for McGill University to divest from Israeli-related funds as well as organizations. They're here until the university meets their demands.
I think that McGill is not taking this as seriously as it should. McGill needs to understand that this is student tuition that is going into literal genocide, and that these students have a right to use their voice, have a right to speak up.
There's a lot of different people coming from different perspectives here. We have a lot of anti-Zionist Jews here, a lot of people from Independent Jewish Voices or IJV. and we formed a really amazing community.
I did speak with one Jewish man who lives nearby and came on campus to see what it looked like.
They shouldn't be taking over McGill's territory and involving McGill's campus. They should be doing it peacefully on the streets and then go home.
McGill University has said that the encampment goes against university policies. They did say at one point that they understand there's the freedom to right of expression as well as assembly, but that according to them, they have seen video evidence of incidents of anti-Semitism and intimidation. That's something that CBC hasn't independently verified, and the protesters here have said that's absolutely not true. So far, police haven't come on campus, have given no indication that they will come on campus. And as I said, protesters say that they will stay here with or without police intervention until their demands are met. Sarah Levitt, CBC News, Montreal.
Federal Conservatives want the government to provide more information on its multi-billion-dollar funding contracts with electric vehicle manufacturers. It comes as a union says some Canadians are being sidelined by foreign workers. CBC's Marina von Stackelberg reports.
Release the information. Prove me wrong. I dare you.
Conservative MP Rick Perkins says it's still unclear how many temporary foreign workers will build Canada's huge electric vehicle and battery plants. The Conservatives introduced a motion today at a House of Commons committee asking the federal government to make public details in those contracts about the hiring of Canadian and foreign workers.
What is the final number of allowable foreign replacement workers in this contract? And how much are Canadians going to have to pay to employ these foreign replacement workers?
It comes after another massive funding announcement last week, $2.5 billion from Ottawa to help Honda build 4 new electric vehicle plants in Ontario. Canada's Building Trades Union says it's in talks with the company to maximize the number of Canadians building that factory. The union has accused another EV manufacturer, Nexstar Energy in LG, of using foreign workers to build its facility in Windsor. But the company says of its 2,000 employees, 72 are not from Canada and necessary since they're installing specialized equipment.
The next generation with more opportunities.
The Prime Minister assuring the union at its annual conference in the capital, the government will try to make sure as many Canadians as possible are employed in the construction projects.
When you have a Canadian worker sitting at home collecting employment insurance in their home community, and there are foreign workers doing his or her work in a plant, that is just completely inexplicable to that Canadian worker. We can't have that happen, Prime Minister.
I agree entirely, and we will be there to support you every step of the way. We will be there to lean in to make sure that the intent and the support of the contracts is there.
This is about electric vehicles, but it's also about courting support from working class Canadians, something all the political parties are trying to do. Another sign of that, tomorrow Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre and NDP leader Jagmeet Singh will also speak at this conference of trade unions. Marina von Stackelberg, CBC News, Ottawa.
After the break, they're trained to help, and now a new roster of therapy dogs is set to head out into Manitoba communities. You're watching CBC Winnipeg News.
He's thinking about his diabetes. She's thinking he won't have time to eat like he should. And he doesn't want her to worry about that. But we can all rest easy, because that's where I come in.
Glycerna, a trusted ally for people with diabetes.
With Freestyle Libre 2, know your glucose level and where it's headed. Get real-time glucose readings sent right to your smartphone. Freestyle Libre 2. Now you know. Visit myfreestyle.ca or scan the code on your screen.
What a difference a day makes. And the difference difference.
Join us for McHappy Day on Wednesday, May 8th.
Loving the uncommon is a wonderful thing we have in common.
When you open up Boursin, you open up to making new friends, going on adventures, and topping it all off with great get-togethers. Boursin, welcome to extraordinary.
Leon's Save the Tax event ends soon. Get amazing deals on furniture, plus save the tax. Save big on select mattresses, plus save the tax. And save the tax when you buy 2 or more select major appliances. On now until Wednesday.
Closed captioning is brought to you by LottoMax. The next LottoMax jackpot is an estimated $31 million. With draws Tuesdays and Fridays, you can dream to the max.
St. John Ambulance in Brandon just held its first therapy dog assessment since the pandemic. 150 dog and handler teams from across Manitoba are being evaluated so they can get to work. Saturday's event put 7 teams to the test, and volunteers say there's a long waiting list of community groups hoping to work with them. Check it out.
Yeah, she is, isn't she? This is the first time since COVID, so yeah, we have been waiting. It's an amazing program, just to be able to help people and to know what animals do for people. It's just amazing.
Today I'm doing 7 teams, which is an awesome number to get started because it's just enough that we can have an impact.
Rosie, how are you?
Rosie has been tested for a St. John Ambulance therapy dog to see if she meets the standards to visit for St. John Ambulance. She did very well. I was proud of her.
The need now is greater than ever, especially post-pandemic, because we know that people's mental health is struggling. We know that people during the pandemic were feeling isolated. And so I think we're at a time in the world when we're looking for more connection, and dogs have a way of bridging connection in a way that is way more efficient.
Doesn't that fix everything? The dogs have to be a good citizen as well. We can't, I don't like seeing dogs not being able to get out. When they're friendly and they meet people and they make people's days, they make people smile.
My favorite part is just having her be a part of this program and to be there to show everyone how caring she is, and we're just looking forward to her being able to help people in need.
There is a wait list of institutions right across Manitoba who are on the wait list, who've been waiting for months, sometimes even years, to have access to a therapy dog come to their program. Think about the dogs that I saw today. I would want any of them to come and pay me a visit.
The graduating class of April, whatever the date is.
Riley Lachuk is back now with the forecast. Riley, it looks like maybe we're getting our last round of April showers.
Those dogs might need I don't want to say the booties, but they might get a little bit wet in the next couple of days. Looking at your dog walking forecast for tomorrow, yeah, in Winnipeg at least, we're looking at a mainly cloudy to partly cloudy start to the day, but it's once we get into the later afternoon, into the evening that we start to see maybe some more wet weather rolling through. So tomorrow, not a total washout, but through the rest of the week, yes, we could see some precipitation rolling through. Buster and Grace are our dogs for this evening. Thanks, Margot, for sending those in. You can send your photos to talkback@cbc.ca, where right now I've got over 4 weeks of pictures to still get through. So if you haven't seen your dog or your cat yet on the dog walking forecast, it's coming. I've got a lot to get through. Here's where we got to today. Below normal across much of Manitoba, 11s and 13s through Dauphin and Roblin through the day today. But yes, only getting to 5 this afternoon in Winnipeg. And if you look at some of these brighter colors back to the west, yes, some places in Saskatchewan topping 20 degrees through the afternoon today. So some warmth to be had in parts of Western Canada, but yes, cooler as we look at our temperatures here in Manitoba. 5s across much of the capital region, 2 in Victoria Beach right now. Arborg sitting at 7 degrees and Swan River at 14, where we're kind of on the edge of some of that warmth and even some double digits still toward northern parts of Manitoba. 6 degrees in Churchill at the moment. So looking at your forecast for tonight, yes, we'll see a little bit of clearing as we head through the evening tonight. Temperatures getting just below the freezing mark. So yes, a chance we could see maybe some showers, some flurries in the Dauphin region, maybe even a wet flurry scattered in nature as we head through the night tonight. Mainly cloudy through northern parts of the province as well. Temperatures a bit warmer, but still, yes, dancing around that freezing mark as we get into the night tonight. So for your hour by hour tomorrow, 2s and 3s to start through Flin Flon and the Pas. And yes, where we see some of these cooler temperatures, best chance where we could see some wet flurries or some light snow, really temperature dependent as we get through the day tomorrow. So you see temperatures at 6 degrees in Norway House tomorrow, but can't rule out maybe if the temperatures do drop down a little bit, maybe some flurry activity. Starting mainly sunny through western Manitoba. Yes, we'll see some hints of sunshine through the day tomorrow, mainly cloudy into northwestern Ontario. But as we get into the later afternoon, this is what's coming our way. More rain, and yes, that's kind of the start of what we get as we get into the rest of the week, Emily.
Thank you, Riley.
You're welcome.
Some budding young wordsmiths got together yesterday at the University of Manitoba to compete in a spelling bee. Organizers with healthy Muslim families say the contest can help young people build their confidence while building their vocabulary. Have a look.
Your word is hyena. Hyena. Correct.
I usually do it in the morning, and I revise like a page of words every day. And then I would my mom would make me do the meaning, so I actually get something out of it. And then I would just continue that every day.
Etymonology. Dexterity. Dexterity.
Overcoming the stage fright, public speaking, the confidence to just be there and participate, and just go talk about your friends to your friends that, you know what, I participated, and there were only 114 students, and I stood out.
A, F, and mobility.
Correct.
N, S, E, C.
Some like it, some don't. Some just thinks it's nerdy and stuff.
CHARISMA.
Correct.
Maybe I could get first place and encourage them to do it next time.
Still to come, after being targeted by an attempted romance scam, CBC's Erica Johnson hears from the man whose photo appeared in the Instagram profile, which was fake. And it turns out he's a well-known TV personality overseas. More on that after the break.
When my hearing changed, Hearing Life understood. I don't just want to keep hearing my friends. I want to keep being me.
Book a free hearing test with one of our hearing professionals and see how our personalized care can help you keep being you. Love your ears at Hearing Life.
And so we're predicting record heat this summer.
You might not know the best time to get a new air conditioner, but we do. Right now, save 20% with the Reliance Early Bird Sale.
Call on Reliance.
Ram Power Days are here. The power to choose from the most awarded truck brand over the last 5 years. Like Ram Classic, as versatile as it is capable. Ram 1500, voted best large pickup in Canada. Or Ram Heavy Duty, with a no-charge Cummins turbo diesel engine. The power is yours. The time is now. Get 20% off MSRP on Ram Classic for up to $14,200 in discounts. Plus get 4.99% financing.
Hi, I'm Vanessa.
Vanessa likes gymnastics. She loves soccer. She loves to ride her bike. She loves to stay at the park as long as she can. She shows me every day that she can do anything she puts her mind to. The WARAMPS is able to provide Vanessa with the devices and support that she needs because of the generosity of the public. Nothing will stop her. Any help that she ever needs is right there because of your generosity.
Thank you.
Dig safe. Building a fence, planting trees, adding a sprinkler system. Click before you dig to have underground natural gas and electrical lines located. Safety, it's in your hands.
Go to tryhospitaldream.com today.
Get your tickets for the spring bonus and you could win your choice of a 2024 Subaru Forester and mountain bike package.
Or a Chevy Blazer and kayak package.
Or a $45,000 travel voucher plus $5 grand.
Or $44,000 cash.
And you'll still be in for the $1.5 million grand prize.
The spring bonus deadline is Thursday, May 9th, so order yours now.
And let's all win together.
A CBC News investigation has taken a strange twist. A few months back, we brought you the story of Go Public's Erica Johnson becoming the target of an attempted romance scam. It stemmed from a fake Instagram profile. Now, the person who appeared on that profile has reached out, and it turns out he's not the scammer, but a well-known personality with Austria's national broadcaster. Here's CBC's Erica Johnson with more.
He may be a weatherman in Austria, but Ziggy Fink had no idea a storm was brewing in Canada.
A notification flashed on my phone.
It was a story about a romance scammer hitting me up on Instagram using a stranger's photos stolen from social media. An Austrian living in Canada recognized Fink in those photos, sent him the story.
My heart was beating faster, you know, like the legs of a rabbit drumming on the ground.
He's hardly a wallflower, posts selfies almost daily on social media, and 2 years ago was voted sexiest man in Austria. Romance scammers steal his pics all the time and sometimes score big. A woman Go Public tracked down recently sent scammers $10,000. CBC is not identifying her because she fears for her safety. She realized the ruse when she stumbled across Fink's actual Facebook account.
I felt really sick when I saw the pictures and the name. I thought I was going to collapse.
Hard for the victims. Fink says he's affected too.
I have a bit fear, you know. I don't know what will happen then.
This professor of psychology says in this social media world, losing control of one's image can be distressing.
You feel like you've been
completely robbed and used in a way that was totally against your values, your morals, your ethical practice, and that is quite traumatizing.
Fink has filed a police report, isn't optimistic, but has one futile request for scammers.
Please stop writing to women with my pictures. Stop it.
Meantime, experts say the best way to keep your pics from falling into the wrong hands, make the settings on your social media private. If you can't do that because of your job, like Fink, do a reverse image search every so often to see where your pictures show up. Report anything illicit to the social media platform. Erica Johnson, CBC News, Vancouver.
More Canadians are working past the age of 65, but many don't realize that's when their benefits change or vanish. CBC's Georgie Smythe has more.
Even though Stephen Booth has passed his 65th birthday, life continues to surprise him. He didn't expect to be still working retail, and he didn't know that, even as he faced illness, he'd lose some of his group benefits.
During that time, depression hit me pretty bad. And so that was just one more thing on top of everything else.
The majority of Canada's private long-term disability plans only pay out to a person's 65th birthday. Even if they continue to work, it's in the fine print.
It's like one day to the next. And it's like, how can that be?
Because government disability plans generally pay less than private plans, it also means less money in Stephen's pocket.
We definitely see more concern about it in times like this.
The coverage ends at 65 because in the past, that's when most people would retire.
That goes back to the majority of plans, government plans and other plans that coordinate with the long-term disability that all end at 65. And that's because for most people, they're eligible to begin their retirement pension at that age.
But some people can't afford to stop working at 65, so they stay in their jobs despite the smaller compensation package. It happened to David Harvey.
From my last years of working, I can see that the employer did not pay me as much in pay and benefits as they provided to my colleagues who were one day under 65 years.
He says older workers shouldn't receive less compensation than their younger colleagues.
It's the first time in my life that I've really felt or understood viscerally what discrimination is about.
Ensuring Canada's workers over 65 would cost more, but as that cohort continues to grow, it's a challenge they say needs to be addressed. Georgie Smythe, CBC News, Vancouver.
Up next, Riley is back with a last check on the weather and a warning. It looks a little soggy for those whiteout parties. You're watching CBC Winnipeg News.
The Jeep No Limits event is here, which means more trails to blaze, more challenges to meet, more sights to discover. Get into a Jeep Gladiator, the only open-air pickup truck in its class, or Jeep Grand Cherokee, the most awarded SUV ever. Jeep No Limits is here. Time to test your limits. Get up to 10% off MSRP on select Jeep models for up to $8,700 in discounts. Save the Tax event ends soon. Get amazing deals on furniture, plus save the tax. Save big on select mattresses, plus save the tax. And save the tax when you buy 2 or more select major appliances. On now until Wednesday.
First time in prison?
Yeah.
You been inside before?
Yeah, twice.
Have you ever tried to tell anyone why you did it?
What's wrong?
Tell me your story. You got one? Oh, yes. Love you lot. If you loved us, you wouldn't be in jail. That woman is a wreck, and she deserves a bit of compassion.
I'm pregnant.
What?
So, this is the playground.
Judges go easy on pregnant women.
You can't leave without cuddles, but you also can't leave covered in hair. With Bounce Pet, you can cuddle and brush that hair off. Bounce, it's the sheet.
Well, for the most part, your Tuesday, at least if you're in Winnipeg or the Red River Valley, will actually not be too terribly bad. So we're looking at a partly cloudy start to the day. So we will see some sun first thing in the morning. 4 degrees, southeast winds at 10. Yes, we'll see some sun even through the noon hour tomorrow with east winds at 10, 7 degrees. And then we start to see our cloud building in ahead of that first sort of push of showers that we see moving through as we get into the evening hours tomorrow. So a high of 12 in Winnipeg tomorrow, but we start to see the rain moving in as we get into Wednesday. 13s and 14s for Wednesday, Thursday, 10 degrees, southwest winds gust to 50 for your Friday. Clearing as we head through the afternoon on Saturday with a high of 12, and then we're looking at 14s and 15s as we start next week. Well, it has been a spot of good news in a community that was hit hard by violence that made national headlines. 2 family members from the James Smith Cree Nation are graduating high school this spring.
And the 2 relatives are not twins or cousins, but a young man and his grandmother. CBC's Jason Warwick has tonight's Daily Lift.
I'm just glad I'm here today. I'm glad I'm graduating with you.
64-year-old Connie Stonestand thought she'd never finish high school, but she'll get her diploma in June, along with her 17-year-old grandson, Sage.
At first, I didn't think I was going to graduate. I didn't think I would be able to do it. But now that I am graduating with my grandson, I feel really good. I'm really, really good, and I feel proud of both him and myself that we were doing this.
This community has been through so much. It's been less than 2 years since the mass stabbings that left 11 people dead and 18 wounded. Connie says that education is the key to healing and moving forward.
I never thought in my lifetime that I would graduate.
Stonestand was forced to drop out to care for her mother more than 40 years ago. She says if she can graduate, anyone can.
I want to show the young people that it's not too late. I want them to know it's not too late to go back to school, get your education, because it's the most important thing in this world is getting your education.
They say education is a top priority in their family. Sage's mother works here at the school, and his brother and cousin attend the University of Saskatchewan. Connie and Sage both say that high school has been very difficult, but graduating together makes it all worth it.
That's what I'll be wearing for my grad.
Stonestand's kids gave her a new dress for the ceremony. It combines the colors used at her wedding with those used in ceremonies by her late husband, Daniel. She says it feels like Daniel's spirit will be on that graduation stage as she and her grandson accept their diplomas. Jason Warwick, CBC News, James Smith, Cree Nation.
Good for them. That's going to be a heck of a family celebration. That's our show for this evening. Hope you have a good night.
Remind you that we're on at 5:30 tomorrow afternoon for a half hour of news before hockey.